Anaconda at Kings Dominion is one of those rides that doesn't have the greatest reputation. Most people consider this ride garbage and don't bother riding it because it's too rough. In fact, in all my times going to Kings Dominion, I don't think I've ever seen Anaconda have a line longer than 10 minutes. This shows that the ride is not very well received and brings up the possibility of it being removed sometime in the future. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the possibility of Anaconda being removed in 2021 and what I think will replace it. Let me start off by saying that I really do think Anaconda is leaving us soon, and here's why I think this. First off, this coaster is really old. This old aero looper is almost 30 years old and is reaching the end of its service life. Vortex at Kings Island was around 32 years old when it was removed, and it was even maintained better than Anaconda anyway, so service life is definitely a factor. Another factor is the obvious one. Nobody loves this ride. Some people like it, but don't love it. It's way too rough for most of the general public, and therefore they shy away from riding it. Like I already mentioned, this ride doesn't get long lines, and it has one of the worst reputations in the coaster community that I've seen. If you ask a random person at Kings Dominion what they think of Anaconda, they'd most likely tell you that they don't like it because it's too rough. So this horrible reputation definitely adds to the fact that this coaster could be getting removed really soon. So if they do decide to remove it, when would they do it? I think the most likely option is that they will make the announcement at the end of the 2020 season after they announce whatever they're adding for 2021. Kind of like how Kings Island announced the removal of Vortex after they announced Orion. This kind of softened the blow. The difference for Anaconda, however, is that people actually liked Vortex. It wasn't the greatest, but it was still kind of sad when it left. Practically nobody loves Anaconda, so they wouldn't necessarily have to do this. They could just randomly take it away one day. But I don't think that's going to happen. I would expect to see the Anaconda removal announcement later on in the 2020 season towards the end of the season, but after they announce the Crypt's replacement. Now, this is one of those rides that I don't think many people will miss when it goes away. Even if it doesn't leave us in 2021, it's still bound to be removed within the next couple of years. I just couldn't see it staying any longer. Even if they replace the trains again, give it a new paint job, and do some track work, it's still an aging coaster that's growing past its service life. Now you may be asking yourselves, well, Loch Ness Monster is over 40 years old, so why can't Anaconda? My answer to that is simple. These two coasters are extremely different. Loch Ness Monster is an icon to Busch Gardens Williamsburg and is generally well received, while Anaconda is nothing but a painful heap of metal to most guests. I'm not the biggest fan of Loch Ness Monster. I've had some pretty bad rides on it, but I understand why people like it. And in the same way, I've had some glossy smooth rides on Anaconda, and therefore I don't hate it, and I kind of like it, but it's definitely on the chopping block, and I really do think it should go. Now to the question on everyone's mind, what will replace Anaconda? The first option that everyone usually thinks of is a B&M flyer over the water. Now obviously, this would be awesome, and it would probably be one of the best rides at Kings Dominion. Now I don't think this has much chance of happening, or at least anytime soon. Kings Dominion is already behind the 8 ball with replacing coasters. They're supposedly getting around to replace the Crypt in 2021, and who knows when we'll see the Volcano replacement come out. So I would expect to see a replacement for Anaconda in like 2025 or 2026. I think we have to wait a while. Or they could speed it up by replacing this before they replace Volcano, but I don't see that having much chance of happening. Other than a flyer, a more economical coaster would be a Mack Power Splash, and this makes sense because it's cheaper and there are no power splashes in that part of the country. The only other thing I can think of that would replace Volcano wouldn't be a coaster. This is a stretch, but maybe they wouldn't get a coaster. They could go the even cheaper route and put paddle boats on the water or something. Or maybe they could get a ride that uses Mack's new rocking boat ride. This would be epic. I mean, it would give Kings Dominion something super unique. And if they did it right, it could be an amazing ride. Now I don't think that this will happen, or they will even consider it, especially because Cedar Fair isn't the greatest when it comes to theming. But considering this would most likely come 5 years from now, Cedar Fair could definitely change its course. So to conclude, I believe Anaconda is definitely getting removed in the next coming years. It's definitely the coaster that's on the chopping block, and I'd say it would most likely be removed in 2021 or 2022, but I'd lean more to 2021. And as for what's replacing it, I don't know, and I don't think anybody does. It could practically be anything, and it all depends on how much Cedar Fair wants to invest into this park. In fact, the entire future of King's Dominion depends on that. So I'd say if you're brave enough to get some rides on Anaconda, you should do it now, because I believe it will be leaving us really soon. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see content just like this every week, and comment below about what are your thoughts on Anaconda leaving King's Dominion.